We will officially convene a public meeting of the Civil Service Commission of the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District on February 17, 2023 at these MSD offices. Sitting for the commission are myself, Bishop Michael Fulton Jones Sr., chairperson of the commission, and Michael Harvey to my left, and Marilyn Sims to my right. In attendance on behalf of MSD are Joseph Meyer with Lockton Companies, Tracy Coleman, Director of Human Resources and Secretary of this commission, and Todd Oshbacher with the MSD Office of General Counsel. Carolyn Hill is here. Reporting services she's our court reporter. And we're here today for a review of the 2023 compensation study commissioned by the district and performed by the district's consultant, Lockton Companies. I have the pleasure of turning this work over now to Ms. Coleman and Lockton. We'll turn it over to both of you at this time.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jones. The compensation study will be presented here this evening and shared with the MSD employees and the public via the intranet and the district's intranet site on January 23rd, 2023. Employees and interested persons were provided an opportunity to submit in writing their questions and comments regarding the compensation study, and the deadline for submitting those comments and questions was February 3rd, 2023. All questions and comments read during this meeting were received prior to the deadline. We will begin the presentation of the 2023 compensation study by Joe Meyer with Lockton Companies. So Joe, if you're ready.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and apologize for the late start. Today I'm going to cover the results of our 2023 compensation study for Metropolitan Sewer District. This slide is an overview of our process here at Lockton with our clients. It's just a visual representation of what we conduct in the terms of our work for this in this particular engagement compensation study. As you can see here, we have our various steps, starting with understanding the goals of the initiative of the entire engagement, all the way down to the implementation of the pay adjustments if necessary or if needed by MSD. At this point, our work has only been through the collection of data, analysis of data, and presentation of said data to MSD. During the study, we conducted a custom survey, and we priced these jobs via our survey library. Our survey library consists of various sources, which we'll go over in this presentation, but the underlying methodology of how we extract data from MSD jobs to match to our library of survey sources starts with a job description. The job description we read, and we determine whether or not that job description has a 70% or better match to profiles found of similar jobs in our survey sources. We do not look at job title, and we use multiple survey sources to conduct the market rate, or to calculate rather the market rates for these positions that we market price. Typically 3 to 5 different sources are used, and you'll see what those look like in the following slides. We aged all data to a common date of January 1st, 2023. And we looked at market median salaries, otherwise known as 50th percentile, same exact number, from our market survey data. When we look at survey data, we can scope it via various what we call scoping factors. In this case, for MSD, we looked at organizations between $220 million and $250 million in total revenue, and also employee count of around 1,000 employees. We also looked at water utilities, focused heavily actually on water utilities as the industry for our market pricing scoping factors. For certain roles such as HR, accounting, IT, these are roles that typically you lose to and draw from various industries, not just other sewer entities. So therefore, for certain roles in certain sections of the MSD, we looked at all industries when it made sense to. As I mentioned earlier, this is the list of survey sources that we utilize for this study. You can see at the top we have Comp Analyst Database all the way through Willis Towers Watson Middle Management, a total of I think, 10 different survey sources that were utilized in the study. And remember, we used 3 to 5 different sources off this list for any survey benchmarking we conducted. We also conducted a custom survey. This custom survey was developed by Lockton, and we surveyed all of MSD's positions in this custom survey. We reached out to over 70 organizations to participate in this survey, and the following names you see on the screen are the ones who responded to the custom survey request. This chart shows cost of labor. This is very important because we need to address, in compensation, we addressed wages by not just scoping factors, but also labor markets, geographic differentials. You all might know that cost of labor is somewhat similar in concept to cost of living. However, cost of labor is a measurement of wages, not of expenses such as mortgage or food, CPI type of expenditures. This is really a measurement of wages within a certain geographic location. St. Louis, the point is St. Louis is at national average, 100% of national average, which means that we are in St. Louis the same as the national average rate for any wage rate across this country. So we surveyed 85 positions in this study. 130 positions were provided market data for. 48 of those we had data from the custom survey to supplement or to serve as the data point for that particular job. So in other words, of the 130 or so jobs, 48 or so, we were able to rely upon the custom survey results to provide meaningful market data references. We compared those data references to MSD's grade midpoint for each job, and we calculated the variance. If the midpoint was greater or less than 15% from the corresponding market calculation from either the custom survey, the Lockton salary survey library, or some combination of both, any job that had a variance of plus or minus 15% was identified for the study. This chart shows which jobs were below 15% compared to the market data relative to their current midpoint at MSD. Starting with the top director of HR all the way through senior public affairs specialist, all these roles were identified as being 15% or greater lower than the market data point relative to their current midpoint. Conversely, the opposite of that, these are the roles that were identified as being 15% or greater above the market reference point, which is the 50th percentile, as compared to their current MSD midpoint. Slide 11 is a summary of the recommendations for adjustments. As you can see here, the same list of roles that are on the slide that are above 15% are being recommended to change grades. The recommended grade you see in the far column, proposed grade. And here's this also in this slide, I think it's a carryover from the previous, some more grade changes based on the identification of roles that are 15% below the market reference point. Here are some roles that are represented roles, I believe, in schedules A, B, and BT. So these jobs reside in those 3 schedules. You can see the variance for these particular roles versus the market data point, and for both negative variance as well as positive variance. We compared how MSD did overall by structure as well in this analysis. So we looked at all jobs within structures A, B, BT, classified and unclassified. And as a whole, we compared them to the corresponding midpoints for those jobs in those structures. We then calculated what we called a structure average market ratio. And what that will tell us is if that structure is overall, how that compares against the market. If they were exactly at the market level, that number in that the black header would show 100%. When it's below 100%, that means that that structure as a whole is slightly below market for those jobs. So as you can see in structure A, we're at 95.8%, B, 111%, which is indicative of jobs as a whole are above market relative to their current midpoint for jobs in that structure. BT, 110% overall, classified almost 100% at 99.2, and unclassified almost at 100% at 99.9. We also did the same math, but using actual wages for the green header. So we used midpoints for the calculation with the structure, with the black header. We used actual wages of employees for the green header calculation to see how that might be different. Structure A, pretty close to the midpoint calculation, 95.2 as opposed to 95.8. Structure B, 112 as opposed to 111. Structure BT, 112 versus 110. 96 versus 99, and 98, almost 99 versus 99.9. So what this kind of tells us here as a whole is that folks are making roughly close to their midpoint in those respective structures as a group. Of course, there's individual outliers on either side, but as a group, that's what you see. That concludes the presentation and the study results.
Thank you, Joe.
No problem.
Well, I'll proceed on with the comments that were submitted to the district. The district received a total of 24 comments and questions from 13 individuals. Many of the comments and questions were similar and could be grouped into categories. I will present these comments in fashion by reading the set of related questions, then providing the district's response to that group of questions. This will avoid repetition in the presentation while still ensuring that everyone's questions have been addressed. The first topic is regarding the transparency of the study. There were 3 questions that focused on what about the rest of the study, or the compensation study not being complete. This compensation study not possibly being complete. So question 1 was, is there going to be any additional transparency on the full compensation study? Question 2 was, will the actual compensation study be available for MSD employees to review instead of a PowerPoint highlighting only the positions outside of the market of 15%? Question 3, will we be receiving the whole study and the results? Please consider the request for the whole study and not just the PowerPoint presentation. The district's response is as follows. The compensation study provided to the district employees and discussed by Lockton this evening is the complete and final report of the work performed by Lockton. Lockton's work product is not considered a public record. Therefore, there are no additional findings or results to disclose. The report addressing those positions will be found by the outliers of 15% or more is consistent with the district's practice with prior compensation studies. In MSD's prior studies over the last 20 plus years, the positions with wages that significantly varied from the market, median rates being above or below 15%, were reported in the study. All other positions were found to be within range of the market median rates for similar positions with similar employers, and those positions have been identified in the compensation study. And then there were 3 other questions related to this topic that asked about the findings on individual positions. Question 1 said, I read the compensation study results and noticed that maintenance mechanics were not listed on the results. The only results that were displayed in the study were positions that were 15% overcompensated or 15% undercompensated. Those that fell in between were not shown in the study. I was curious on if there are still results available for the maintenance mechanic position. Even if we were not deemed 15% over or undercompensated, I'm still curious as to what the percent difference is in our compensation. The next question on that topic would it be possible to forward the information pertaining to I&E techs before the trade labor meeting on Wednesday so that we can review? And the third question is it possible for me to get access to information accumulated for my position as a business analyst specialist? The district's response is, as previously indicated, the study only reports on positions that were more than 15% from the market median. Because the positions in these questions did not have such a variance, they are not a part of the final compensation study. The consultant's work product is not considered a public record, and therefore the final compensation study has been provided. The next set of questions were regarding the methodology of the study. Several questions were asked concerning the methodology of the compensation study. The first in this area is a question on the 15%. The question was, how was the 15% over and under market rate decided? The district's response on that question is, this was the same methodology used in prior studies at the district, and it was used again. All compensation studies require the selection of a benchmark level. 4 questions were asked about the study, 4 questions asked about the study was conducted with regard to a selection of the jobs and the jobs actually studied. Question 1 is, how was it determined which jobs would be evaluated? Question 2 is Lockton going off of job duties or the job title? Question 3, is Lockton going off the job duties? Who is providing Lockton with the job description of the duties? And can the employee see the description Lockton was given? Question 4, how did the job descriptions and responsibilities compare? We would like to have the district's job descriptions as well as the comparison districts. The district's response is as follows. All active job titles, 130 positions were evaluated in the 2023 compensation study. Lockton Companies reviewed the job title and the job description for every active position at MSD. The job titles and the job descriptions used by Lockton were those found on MSD's intranet site, known as the pipeline, accessible to all employees, and the MSD intranet site at www.msdprojectclear.org, and accessible to the public under the heading Careers. The compensation study itself and explained by Lockton in its presentation provides an in-depth analysis of how the job descriptions and job responsibilities were compared. 2 related questions on the topic regarding the study's methodology. How were the compensation districts chosen and why those districts? Why were the area competitors not considered? The district's response on that is Lockton developed a peer list of other sewer districts and similar organizations with the assistance of MSD's Human Resource Department. This list consisted of over 70 organizations with an emphasis on the Midwest region. Lockton invited organizations on the list to participate in the study, and 7 organizations agreed to participate. Those 7 entities are identified in the study and listed in the presentation we saw tonight. The next question on methodology were the payroll years that the rates were compared to for the district and the facilities chosen. What were those payroll years? That was the question. The district's response is MSD's payroll information for prior years was not used in the study. Instead, the current salary ranges and the job descriptions were utilized in the comparison process. This methodology was chosen to provide an accurate and up-to-date representation of the job responsibilities and the compensation levels for the district. And the final question in the area of methodology was, why was there only one A schedule evaluated? The response to that is all active job titles involving 130 job positions at MSD were evaluated for the 2023 compensation study. The next set of questions focused on meaning and the use of results. There were a few questions about the meaning and the use of the results of the study. Question 1 was, what exactly do these results mean for folks like me? Group A, grade 7. Does this mean that we're comparable to others below or above wages? The response from the district is yes, that is what the results mean. If a position is not listed on a study, that means that the review revealed that the wage was within range for the position and the district is comparable and competitive with the wage range for similar positions with similar employers. The next question is there a salary increase for the positions 15% or more below market value? The response is the job titles for both classified and unclassified positions that are 15% or more regarding the market median are being presented to the Civil Service Commission tonight. And as indicated on page 11, the proposed move for those positions are listed on that page. If an individual's salary falls outside of that range, the upgraded grade level and salary increase would be mandatory. If, on the other hand, the salary falls within the range, the updated grade level, a salary increase would not be mandatory. There were specific questions that regarded, there were position-specific questions. There were a number of questions specific to a particular position, and those are as follows. When the painter position was compared, was it an industrial painter? The response is Lockton used market data for a senior professional painter from 4 different survey sources across all industries, including water and sewage utilities. The next question is, will any adjustment be made to the position of principal engineer 3557 as a result of the compensation study? Being be applied equally for the position of principal engineer of operations 3560. The response is the principal engineer position 3557 and 3560 were assessed together. The proposed change is to move both positions from a grade 10 to a C11. And another group of 3 related questions about particular group positions are as follows. The question is, will the asset manager position 1413, currently a grade C11 position, be moved along with the program manager 355 position to a grade C12? The asset manager position was formerly a program manager 355 when the asset manager position was created, and it maintained the same grade level as the program manager 355. The next question is the principal engineer operations 3560 reports to the asset management manager. Will any adjustment be made to the position of principal engineer 3557, moving to grade C11 as a result of the compensation study, being applied equally to the position of principal engineer of operations 3560, currently a grade 10, or operations manager, currently a grade 10? Operations manager was also formerly the principal engineer operations 3560. The third set of questions in that category is the principal engineer of operations 3560 reports to the asset manager 1413, currently grade C11. If the principal engineer in operations 3560 moves to a C11, will the asset manager position be moved to a C11 along with the program manager 355 and therefore handled similar to the operations division manager 0038 position that was slated for reduction but is being maintained at the U12 level to keep them above the positions reporting to them? The response from the district is as follows for those questions. As stated in the response is stated in the response to prior questions, the district has maintained a longstanding practice for over 20 years of making equity adjustments only for job positions that fall outside of the 15% above or below market median. This practice is reflected in the 2023 compensation study, where all job positions impacted are publicly posted. If there is no change to the reviewed job, it will not be posted. The asset manager position 1413 position was not outside of the range and will not be changed as a result of the study. There were miscellaneous comments that were also submitted, which I'll read now. One question received related to an individual's pay under the salary range guidelines for their particular position and was not related to the compensation study at all. For privacy reasons, that question was answered via email, and the individual is not reported here. The following comment was also received but does not fall into any other categories, and the comment is as follows. Why is it always the people that make the most money get evaluated and be found to not making enough? The response is this is more commentary rather than a question. But in the response, let me say that the district's consultant reviewed and analyzed every position at the district, consisting of 130 different job categories. And the findings were objectively based on data outlined in the study itself. Many of the job positions receiving a grade increase based on the study are not the highest compensated positions at MSD. That concludes the presentation on the written comments and questions that we received. We have one public comment from Mike Murphy. And if you want to come to the podium and provide.
Thank you. Again, my name is Michael Murphy. I am the representative for several groups of employees that are on the B schedule, two of which were subjects that are deemed to be 15% or more above market. I did put a packet together, so you have everything that I'm going to kind of try to talk about. I'll try to be brief. I don't know how you want me to distribute them. There are 7 packets. I thought one for each board member and one for the secretary for the record. When I submitted our questions, we had made a request. In the past, when we had seen the compensation study, it was more than just the PowerPoint. It said 15% over, 15% under. We don't know how all of our positions compared to other districts or how those other districts were chosen. I was listening tonight and it was based on the study, but I went to the internet and the first piece that's in the envelope, if you look at it, it's the painter position for the union painters in St. Louis market. If you go to the second page of this, it is the industrial painters. On commercial industrial, $34.74 an hour, not including benefits. Our painters are in that wheelhouse. I don't know how, again, that wasn't part of the data that was used to say they were 15% over. If you look at the senior operator positions, there's 3 different studies or 3 different things I found on the internet, one of which is a direct competitor in trying to attract people, which is Missouri American Water. Their job description is listed, but we don't have a job description to compare to. But their wages are a penny different than what the district is paying. Again, depending if you're looking strictly at sewer districts or water districts, there's 2 other studies that again say the salary range is $68,189 to $93,642 a year. And the other one is $68,000 as a start, $70 to $86,879 per year. A lot of what I considered when I looked at the places that were selected in the study tend to be right-to-work states, which wages and benefits are generally nationally lower than non-right-to-work states. So those rates are going to come in lower and cause a higher variance. I don't know if Minnesota was one of those. The city of St. Louis, while Lockton said is 100% of the market, they tend to pay lower than most of the other competition, which is why they have a harder time getting and keeping people. The district is a good place to work. People can make a living here. To say that somebody's over market, I don't know that they are, because again, when I looked at the data, we're in the wheelhouse of where other places are. I don't know if you have questions for me or not.
Well, we thank you for your comments. Is that all that you have, Mr. Murphy?
Okay, and then are we going to get a copy of the responses? Because I don't think I got the responses that you read and what you emailed me. Because I gave you the whole thread of basically Tracy's and my exchange going through this as the preface for, because we had asked for the full report, because when we sit down to do bargaining, if we hear that we're over market, although it wasn't 15%, it's going to cause a bigger issue, because and tonight we heard that 85 classifications were compared. Those aren't in this PowerPoint presentation to see where they fell, whether they were over or under or right on. None of that is in this. We had asked for a copy of it and was told basically, and Tracy, I did hear you read that, and that was part of what you responded to me on, was that the study was given to the employees. At least 2 different employees tried to find the full study that compared all the jobs. They couldn't find it. So, we don't know how and where the data ended up being put into the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions and comments and participation in the session this evening. And thank you, Mike Murphy, for giving your commentary as well. We are getting to the conclusion of this presentation tonight. The commissioners, after hearing the questions, the responses, and also the public statements, this concludes our review of the compensation study and the comments received on the study. It is now your responsibility to review the study, including the responses and the comments and questions. If the commission determines that the study is complete and the methodology and findings are appropriate, the commission will proceed to make a recommendation by ordinance to the MSD Board of Trustees regarding an adoption of the actual study. Thank you to the commission and to Lockton and to Joe Meyer and all the attendees and individuals who submitted questions and comments on the study. Bishop Jones, I'll turn everything over to you at this point.
Tracy, thank you, and thank you for your comments, sir. The commission will review the compensation study and the various questions and responses, take further action, and make recommendations to the Board of Trustees regarding the comp study as appropriate following its review. We're grateful and thankful to everyone who participated and who attended this evening's meeting. Anyone is watching us virtually, thank you also for doing so. I will adjourn this meeting of the MSD Civil Service Commission. We say have a good evening and thank you very much for your time.